Did a Board of Education member who just resigned get an upper hand in his bid to become school superintendent? And how will his former colleagues manage recruiting and hiring for the top job now? Gina Mangieri is always investigating and found out that's what some lawmakers are questioning. Gina?
Joe, during a short stint on the board, the man who now says he's interested in applying weighed in on how to handle that job becoming vacant and what steps should be taken in filling the position. Critics are calling foul. Supporters say it does not dampen his qualifications nor the hiring process from here on out. Governor David Ige appointed Darrell Galera to the Board of Education last October. And by November 1st, Galera was heading an investigative committee group on replacing Superintendent Catherine Matayoshi. Fast forward to this week, Galera now says he's interested in the top job and is stepping down from the board. A red flag for some.
There are rumblings now coming forward in terms of, you've had this situation here where this individual participated not only in the process of the removal of the superintendent, but also in the process of coming up with the prerequisites and the minimum qualifications in the selection of the new superintendent.
Galera's supporters see it differently.
The Darrell Galera I know would never try to manipulate a system. His nature is that he's very honest, very straightforward.
Senators have questions for Governor Ige, who, despite nominating Galera last fall, has yet to send Galera and hundreds of other board and commission nominees to the Senate for the advise and consent confirmation process, months into the legislative session.
He's got to answer some questions, in terms of where are the nominations and why haven't they come down sooner, especially in light of what has happened over the last few days.
We asked the governor, did he appoint Darrell Galera to the Board of Education with the intent of him replacing the current superintendent? Ige told us no. We asked the governor when he knew about Galera's interest in the job. He said when Galera submitted his resignation this week.
Darrell Galera, would be a strong candidate for a position like this, certainly a qualified candidate for a position like this, whether or not he had ever been on the Board of Education, whether or not he had led the Every Student Succeeds Act committee. Frankly, the fact that he's been on the Board of Education for a short period of time, I think, is irrelevant in terms of his qualifications for this position.
I think there's a number of major concerns that have been raised here from an ethical perspective.
A 2013 ethics advisory says board members need to quit when they decide to apply for a position at their agency. What does the advisory say as to what the timing should be?
Well, I think the commission recognizes that it's not always crystal clear when someone makes a decision to apply for a job.
Dan Gluck, State Ethics Director.
In the case where you have someone who is on a board and then is applying for a job with that board, the commission was concerned that there's an inherent conflict, there's an inherent unfairness in that kind of situation.
Even if they didn't know at the time, isn't there a point at which you've gone a bridge too far? Because you've participated in all those key things that shaped up to make the job open in the first place.
I think our state ethics code does a really great job of setting out in broad strokes the kinds of behaviors that are acceptable and the kind of behaviors that aren't. We'd have to look into individual circumstances to make a determination.
The governor told us he encourages Galera to discuss this issue with the Ethics Commission.
I'm pretty sure that Darrell didn't agree to be a member of the Board of Education with a goal of getting an advantage later in applying for the position.
For his former colleagues on the Board of Education, how do they now consider this, considering they will have to make the decision as to now considering him for the job on the Board of Education? Will they have to recuse him themselves?
The board declined to answer, always investigating if they'll be seeking guidance on recusal, but said of the hiring from here on out that Galera will have to go through the same screening process as all the other applicants, and every applicant will be considered on an equal playing field. And they said they'll continue conducting a search for candidates with an open and transparent process. The governor told us he's looking for the widest pool of applicants for the superintendent position.
A lot of really good visionary educators across the country that I think would recognize this as the opportunity of a lifetime to turn the entire system right side up in a way that would benefit almost immediately the children of this state.
We reached out to Darryl Galera for comment. We'll let you know when he responds. As for the status of all other board and commission nominations, the governor tells me it's not overdue. March 31st is the deadline, and all names will be sent to the Senate by then. Gina Mangieri, KHON 2 News.